शंकर जी की जटा से निकले निर्मल गंगा पानी। कोई कहे तुझे गंगा माता, कोई कहे महारानी। शंकर जी की जटा से निकले निर्मल गंगा पानी। कोई कहे तुझे गंगा माता, कोई कहे महारानी, कोई कहे महारानी। तोहे निश्चय फूल चढ़ाए जो तेरी आरती गावे, वो सुख शांति पावे जो तेरी आरती गावे। जय जय गंगा माता जो तेरी आरती गावे, वो सुख शांति पावे जो तेरी आरती गावे। हर हर गंगे जय माँ गंगे, हर हर गंगे जय माँ गंगे, हर हर गंगे जय माँ गंगे, हर हर गंगे जय माँ गंगे। ओम जय गंगे माता, श्री जय गंगे माता। जो नर तुझको ध्याता, जो नर तुझको ध्याता, मन वांछित फल पाता। ओम जय गंगे माता, जय गंगे माता, श्री जय गंगे माता। जो नर तुझको ध्याता, जो नर तुझको ध्याता, मन वांछित फल पाता। ओम जय गंगे माता। चंद्र सी ज्योत तुम्हारी, जल निर्मल आता। मैया जल निर्मल आता। शरण पड़े जो तेरी, शरण पड़े जो तेरी, सोनर तर जाता। ओम जय गंगे माता। पुत्र सगर के तारे, सब जग को ज्ञाता। मैया सब जग को ज्ञाता। कृपा दृष्टि तुम्हारी, कृपा दृष्टि तुम्हारी, त्रिभुवन सुख दाता। ओम जय गंगे माता। एक ही बार जो तेरी शरणागति आता, मैया शरणागति आता। यम जो जन निकलाता, दास वही सहज में, दास वही सहज में मुक्ति को पाता। ओम जय गंगे माता, ओम जय गंगे माता, श्री जय गंगे माता। जो नर तुझको ध्याता, जो नर तुझको ध्याता, मन वांछित फल पाता। ओम जय गंगे माता, जय गंगे माता, श्री जय गंगे माता। जो नर तुझको ध्याता, जो नर तुझको ध्याता, मन वांछित फल पाता। ओम जय गंगे माता, ओम जय गंगे माता, ओम जय गंगे माता, ओम जय गंगे माता।
Om Namo Bhagavate Shivanandaya. On behalf of our Divine Master Sri Swami Shivananda and our beloved Pujya Swami Sahajananda, we extend a warm and cordial welcome to all to our Youth Day program for 2022. We also extend a special welcome to donors, well-wishers, devotees tuning in for the first time, and those from abroad. We will now read from Guru Bhakti Yoga by Sri Swami Shivananda. Just as the Chitaka bird, after waiting for a long time, quenches its thirst only by the drop of rainwater, so should the true disciple serve his Guru and await the word of Upadesha that shall quench all his agonies and free him forever. Just as fire, by its very nature, burns whatever comes within its fold and within its aura, so also the grace of a God-realized Guru verily burns all the sins of the one that seeks such a merciful Guru, whatever may be his worth. Everyone who longs to transcend misery and obtain joy and happiness in life should sincerely practice Guru Bhakti Yoga. A very effective method of eradicating all evil qualities is to put into practice the yoga of Guru Bhakti. Devotion to the holy feet of the Guru is the cardinal virtue which, if assiduously cultivated, transports a disciple to the paradise of perennial joy and bliss supreme.
Om Namo Bhagavate Shivanandaya. Message on the occasion of Youth Day. In the book Enlightened Education, the Divine Master Sri Swami Shivananda had the following to say about youth. The youth are the most precious treasure of the nation. Students are an important asset to the country, for leaders all over the land recognize that they are to guide the nation tomorrow. The present generation of students are the potential leaders in all the different fields of national life in the future. The most precious period of a man's life is youth. This is the formative period in a human being's life. The molding of one's nature and the development of the character and personality take place in this period. Whilst the whole world focuses on secular education, which prepares one for a material life and the ability to earn a living, in the above book, the Divine Master inquires as to whether this education is indeed equipping the youth for the tasks and challenges of the future. We note the recent turmoil in the province and the whole world at large, and ask the same question: has our secular education prepared us for the trials and tribulations of life? The answer is no. Only a life in God, with God or the Guru as the center of our existence, can truly equip us to cope with the harsh realities of life. The Master continues, a person may be formally religious and yet possess an undesirable character. Therefore, the practice of spirituality in the right sense of the term by students as well as their parents is of great importance. One has to eradicate vices and develop virtues to a high degree in order to earn the grace of God. When the Master was asked whether it was okay to lead a divine life and have a few vices at the same time, his reply was very succinct. So they want light and darkness at the same time? Sri Swami Shivananda states, if you want a simple and easy method of meeting all the challenges of this stressful life and enjoying peace of mind, practice these three things. They will take you to Him without tears. 1. Surrender to Him completely. It is not easy to surrender completely, but by giving thanks to God for everything we experience on a daily basis, we would be moving closer to surrender. 2. Repeat His divine name at all times. To repeat the divine name continuously is also not something that comes overnight. Sri Gurudev says, start the day with God, fill the day with God, and end the day with God. We should at least remember to say a prayer or repeat some mantras in the morning and at night. Pujya Swami Sahajananda stated that the divine name protects you when you repeat it. There are many instances where those who repeat the mantra regularly remembered it during dangerous situations and they were miraculously saved. We need to make a start and be regular to see the benefits. 3. See Him in all beings and creatures. As youth, you are still with an open mind and in the process of molding your character. Sri Gurudev says that we must choose a virtue and try to develop this over a month. Take up another virtue each month. By doing so, our minds become more refined and we grow to appreciate all of God's creation. We encourage our youth to take up the challenge of leading a divine life in the midst of all the trials and tribulations of this world. Dare to be different. Take up some service activity. There are enough opportunities to serve. May the blessings of our Divine Master, Sri Swami Shivananda and Pujya Swami Sahajananda be upon all for a bright, happy and prosperous future. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
A short overview of our program. We will have a peace meditation done by one of our youth girls, a PowerPoint presentation on bhakti, play readings, invocation, universal prayer, Swamiji's talk, a musical item by our guest artist Avijay Harichand, a Ramayana recital by our youth girls, a dance by Shivaham Fine Arts, bhajans and kirtans, and announcements. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Improve yourself. Why do you laugh in vain, friend, when you have cause to really weep? You have done so many sinful acts and have not done anything to improve your nature. Your heart is filled with all kinds of impurities. You have no peace of mind. Know that all carnal pleasures will bite and sting you to death in the end. How to get peace. In the midst of the struggle and strife of daily life, in the midst of suffering and turmoil, it is quite possible to have perfect peace of mind if you lead the divine life. If you practice truth, celibacy, and non-violence, if you have perfect faith in God, if you surrender to Him completely and take full refuge in Him. Serve, love, give. Thought alone shapes and molds our whole life. Become an embodiment of good nature. Think well of all. Do good actions always. Serve, love, give. Make others happy. Live to serve all. Then you will reap a rich harvest of peace and happiness. You will get the best opportunities and environments. Be a lamp to all. Be a lamp to those who have lost their way. Be a doctor and nurse to ailing patients. Be a boat and bridge to those who want to reach the other shore of peace and happiness. Remove sorrow by means of kind and loving words. Make a man smile when he is in despair. Cheer him up when he is afflicted. Control of speech. A tactful person should not be rash in coming to conclusions. He should have full control of his speech. He should know when to talk and when to observe silence. Control of speech is the most important quality that he should possess. A tactful person always says the right thing to the right person at the right time. Forms of charity. Charity should be done without seeking any name and fame. Every good act is charity. Giving water to relieve the thirst of others is charity. An encouraging word to one in distress is charity. Giving medicine to a sick man is charity. Removing glass pieces from the road is charity. Serving birds and animals is charity. All belongs to God. True self-surrender is the knowledge that the body, mind, and soul belong to the Lord, that all our talents and gifts come from Him, that it is through His grace and power that we think, act, breathe, sleep, and digest our food, that all our material possessions belong to Him, that His will is supreme. Om Namo Bhagavate Shivanandaya. Our topic today is on bhakti. What is bhakti? The term bhakti comes from the root bhaj, which means to be attached to God. The devotee wants God and God alone. There is no selfish expectation here. There is no fear also. Bhakti is the slender thread of prem, or love that binds the heart of a devotee with the lotus feet of the Lord. Bhakti is intense devotion and supreme attachment to God. Bhakti is supreme love for God. It is the spontaneous outpouring of prem towards the beloved. It is pure, unselfish, divine love or Siddha prem.
Types of bhakti. Bhakti is of various kinds. One classification is Sakamya and Nishkamya bhakti. Sakamya bhakti is devotion with desire for material gains. A man wants wealth. With this motive, he practices bhakti. Another man wants freedom from diseases and therefore does japa and offers prayers. A third one wants to become a minister and does upasana with this aim. This is Sakamya bhakti. Whatever you want, the Lord will certainly give you, if your bhakti is intense and if your prayers are sincerely offered from the bottom of your heart. But you will not get supreme satisfaction, immortality, and moksha through Sakamya bhakti.
Your bhakti should always be in Nishkamya bhakti. God has already given you a good position, a good job, wife and children, and enough wealth. Be contented with these. Aspire for Nishkamya bhakti. Nishkamya bhakti is bhakti without expectation. There is not a bit of bargaining or expectation of anything here. This higher feeling is indescribable in words. It has to be sincerely experienced by the devotee. Bhakti is a sacred, high emotion with sublime sentiments that unites the devotees with the Lord.
Bhavas in bhakti. When the devotee grows in devotion, there is absolute self-forgetfulness. This is called bhava. Bhava establishes a true relationship between the devotee and the Lord. Bhava then grows into Mahabhava, wherein the devotee lives, moves, and has his being in the Lord. This is Parama Prema, the consummation of love. There are 5 kinds of bhavas in bhakti. They are Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya bhava. These bhavas or feelings are natural to human beings, and so these are easy to practice. Practice whichever bhava suits your temperament or supreme love.
In Shanta bhava, the devotee is shanta or peaceful. He does not jump and dance. He is not highly emotional. His heart is filled with love and joy. Bhishma was a Shanta Bhakta. Sri Hanuman was a Dasya Bhakta. He had Dasya Bhava, servant attitude. He served Lord Rama wholeheartedly. He pleased his master in all possible ways. He found joy and bliss in the service of his master. In Sakya Bhava, God is a friend of the devotee. Arjuna had this bhava towards Lord Krishna. The devotee moves with the Lord on equal terms. Arjuna and Krishna used to sit, eat, talk and walk together as intimate friends.
In Vatsalya bhava, the devotee looks upon God as his child. Yashoda had this bhava with Lord Krishna. There is no fear in this bhava because God is your child. The devotee serves, feeds, and looks upon God as a mother does in the case of her child. The last is Madhurya bhava or Kanta bhava. This is the highest form of bhakti. The devotee regards the Lord as his lover. This was the relationship between Radha and Krishna. This is Atma Samarpana. The lover and the beloved become one. The devotee and God feel one with each other and still maintain a separateness in order to enjoy the bliss of the play of love between them. This is oneness in separation, and separation in oneness.
A caution. Madhurya Bhava is absolutely different from conjugality of earthly experience. One should not be mistaken for the other. Earthly conjugality is purely selfish and is undertaken only because it gives pleasure to one's own self. But in love for God, it is because it gives pleasure to God and not for the sake of the devotee. Divine love is not selfish. It is born of sattva. But earthly lust is born of rajas and attachment to bodies. Earthly conjugality is the outcome of egotistic, self-regarding, egoistic feeling, while divine communion is the outcome of other-regarding feeling devoid of egoism. Strong selfishness is the root of worldly passion. Divine love is the product of loss of egoism.
This is the greatest difference between lust and divine love. The two are related as darkness is related to light. No development of earthly affection, however perfect it may be, can lead one to supreme joy of divine communion. Lust lurks in the heart due to the passion that burns in the core of things. Divine love is unknown to the man of the world, however religious he may be. The secret of divine love cannot be understood, and should not be tried to be understood, so long as man is only a man, and woman only a woman. The austere transformation of human life into the divine is the beginning of true love for God.
Nava Vidha Bhakti, or the 9 types of bhakti. Devotion to God is developed in 9 different ways. It is supreme attachment to God through a bhava predominant in the devotee. Intense love is the common factor in all 9 modes. Exclusive love for God is expressed through various methods. All bhaktas of this type are above the formalities of the world. They are untouched by the laws of human dharma and are out and out concerned with God. One cannot develop true devotion to God if he is crooked in his heart, if he has got objects of love in this world, if he is tempted by charming worldly things, if he wishes to take care of his wife, children, and relatives, if he wishes to feed his body well, if he wishes to earn a great name in the world, if he wants to establish a permanent fame on earth, if he does not like to part with the alluring contents of the world. Perfect detachment from all objects is a preliminary to real devotion.
In the Srimad Bhagavata and the Vishnu Purana, it is told that the 9 forms of bhakti are Shravana, hearing of God's leelas and stories; Kirtana, singing His glories; Smarana, remembrance of His name and presence; Padasavena, service of His feet; Archana, worship of God; Vandana, prostration to the Lord; Dasya, cultivating the bhava of a servant with God; Sakya, cultivation of the friend bhava; Atmani Vedana, complete surrender to the self. A devotee can practice any method of bhakti which suits him best. Through that, he will attain divine illumination.
How to cultivate bhakti? How can we love God whom we have not seen? Attend satsangs and prayer services. Spend some time daily in prayer. Live in the company of saints. Hear the leelas of God. Study the sacred scriptures. Worship Him first in His several forms, as manifested in the world. Worship any image or picture of the Lord or Guru. Recite His name. Sing His glories. You will develop love for God. Every act must be done that awakens the emotion of bhakti. Keep the puja or worship room clean. Decorate the room. Burn incense. Light a lamp. Keep a clean seat. Bathe. Wear clean clothes. Apply vibhuti or sacred ash and kumkum on the forehead. wear rudraksha or tulsi mala. All these produce a benign influence on the mind and elevate the mind. They generate piety. They help to create the necessary bhava or feeling to invoke the deity that you want to worship.
The mind will be easily concentrated. Practice of right conduct, satsang, japa, smaran, kirtan, prayer, worship, service of saints, residence in places of pilgrimage, service of the poor and the sick with divine bhava, offering of all actions and their fruits to the Lord, feeling the presence of the Lord in all beings, prostrations before the image and saints, renunciation of earthly enjoyments and wealth, charity, austerities and vows, practice of ahimsa, satyam, and brahmacharya. All these will help you to develop bhakti. Pujya Swami Sahajananda said that we should talk to our Guru or God throughout the day, in performing all our actions and thoughts so that we are in constant remembrance. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, "Whatever thou doest, whatever thou eatest, whatever thou offerest in sacrifice, whatever thou givest, whatever thou practisest as austerity, O Arjuna, do it as an offering unto me." Reading life stories of saints and dwelling on their teachings is like having their satsang. It strengthens our own faith and self-surrender, and we grow in bhakti. Reading and listening to the stories from our sacred scriptures, like the Ramayana and the Bhagavatam, instills faith and develops bhakti.
Fruits of bhakti. Bhakti softens the heart and removes jealousy, hatred, lust, anger, egoism, pride, and arrogance. It infuses joy, divine ecstasy, bliss, peace, and knowledge. All cares, worries, and anxieties, fears, mental torments, and tribulations entirely vanish. The devotee is freed from the samsaric wheel of births and deaths. He attains the immortal abode of everlasting peace, bliss, and knowledge. The fruits of bhakti is jnana, or divine knowledge. Jnana intensifies bhakti. Even jnanas like Sankara, Madhusudana, and Sukadev took to bhakti after realization to enjoy the sweetness of loving relationship with God.
Knowledge or wisdom will dawn by itself when you practice bhakti yoga. Bhakti is the pleasant, smooth, direct road to God. Bhakti is sweet in the beginning, sweet in the middle, and sweet in the end. It gives the highest undecaying bliss. Kindle love divine in thy heart, for this is the immediate way to the kingdom of God. Pray to the Lord, sing His glory, recite His name, become a channel of His grace. Seek His will, do His will, surrender to His will. You will become one with the cosmic will. Surrender unto the Lord. He will become your charioteer in the field of life. He will drive your chariot well. You will reach the destination, the abode of immortal bliss. What can we as youth learn from the practice of bhakti?
Serve,
Love,
give,
purify,
meditate,
realize,
be good,
do good,
be kind.
be compassionate. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. The following two short stories entitled The Little Boy and the Waitress and Heart of Gratitude are adapted from the websites Moral Stories 26 and Kind Spring respectively.
The Little Boy and the Waitress. A little boy walks into the ice cream parlor. He wanted to enjoy an ice cream as it was a rather hot day. He sat over at a vacant table. A waitress came over to take his order. Albeit frustrated as she was stuck with a little boy who didn't seem to be with an adult. "How much for this ice cream?" the boy asked. The waitress frowned and glanced at the menu. 35 rand. The boy then pointed to another one. "And this one?" With a bush of irritation, she replied, 22 rand. The boy nodded and then pointed again at another ice cream option. What about this one? Quite annoyed now, the woman harshly says 17 rand. The boy nods, deep in thought, as he takes out his wallet and counts the money. The waitress taps a pen on a notepad, not bothering to hide her irritation. "I'll take this," the boy says happily, pointing at the 17 rand ice cream. She hurries away before the boy could change his mind. She brought the ice cream and practically threw it in front of the little boy, who was unmoved by her rude gesture. Instead, he dug into his ice cream, enjoying the flavor that instantly hit him. When he was finished, he pulled out his wallet and carefully counted his money once again. He placed the money on the tabletop and walked away happily. The waitress grumbled, still irritated, and went over to the boy's table to collect the money. She suddenly felt all her irritation sweep away from her and was replaced with gratitude and guilt as she counted the money. She now realized that the little boy asked questions about the prices because he wanted to leave her a decent tip. Full of gratitude and determination, she hurried after the boy. Once she caught up to him, she folded her hands and said, "Thank you." Moral: a kind word or gesture can change the attitude of a person. Don't judge other people hastily. We can learn big lessons from little people. People will forget what you said, forgive what you did, but will never forget the way you made them feel.
Om Namo Bhagavate Shivanandaya. Be thankful. Be thankful that you don't already have everything you desire. If you did, what would they be to look forward to? Be thankful when you don't know something, for it gives you the opportunity to learn. Be thankful for the difficult times. During those times, you grow. Be thankful for your limitations, because it will build your strength and character. Be thankful for your mistakes. They will teach you valuable lessons. A life of rich fulfillment comes to those who are also thankful for the setbacks. Gratitude can turn a negative into a positive. Find a way for your trouble and they can become your blessings. Unknown. When you accept anything that comes your way, positiveness arises. Gratitude is when you look for good, even in an unpleasant situation.
Heart of Gratitude. A blind man sat at the steps of a building with a hat by his feet. He held up a sign which said, "I am blind, please help." There were only a few coins in the hat. A man was walking by. He took a few coins from his pocket and dropped them into the hat. He then took the sign, turned it around, and wrote some words. He put the sign back so that everyone who walked by would see the new words. Soon the hat filled up with coins. A few more people were given money to the blind man. That afternoon, the man who changed the sign came to see how things were. The blind man recognized his footsteps and asked, "Were you the one who changed my sign this morning? What did you write?" The man said, "I only wrote the truth. I said what you did, but in a different way. I wrote, 'Today is a beautiful day, but I cannot see it.'" Both the signs told people that the man was blind, but the first sign simply said that the man was blind. The second sign told people that they were lucky that they were not blind. Should we be more surprised by the effectiveness of the second sign? Be thankful for what you have. Think differently and positively. Be kind and compassionate to all, because you will never know whose life you may be changing by the power of your words and actions.
Om Shri Satguru Paramatmane Namaha. Om Shri Satguru Paramatmane Namaha. Om Shri Satguru Bhagavan Shivanandaye Namaha. Om Shri Satguru Bhagavan Shivanandaye विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ज्ञानमूलं गुरोर्मूर्ति पूजामूलं गुरोर्पदम् मंत्रमूलं गुरोर्वाक्यं मोक्षमूलं गुरोर्कृपा मोक्षमूलं शिवानन्दाकृपा ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वदी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। यस्यान्तर्नादिमध्यं न हि करचरणं नाम गोत्रं न सूत्रं नो जातिर्नैव वर्णं न भवति पुरुषो नो नपुंसं न च स्त्री नाकारं नो विकारं न हि जननमरणं नास्ति पुण्यं न पापं नो तत्त्वं तत्त्वमेकं सहजसमरसं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। चैतन्यं शाश्वतं शान्तं व्योमातीतं निरञ्जनं नादबिन्दुकलातीतं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अज्ञानमूलहरणं जन्मकर्मनिवारणं ज्ञानवैराग्यसिद्ध्यार्थं गुरोपादोदकं पिबेत्। अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ नमः शिवाय गुरवे सच्चिदानन्दमूर्तये निष्प्रपञ्चाय शान्ताय निरालम्बाय तेजसे नित्यशुद्धं निराभासं निराकारं निरञ्जनं नित्यबोधं चिदानन्दं गुरुब्रह्मा नमाम्यहम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। निधये सर्वविद्यानां विषजे भवरोगिणां गुरवे सर्वलोकानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ श्री सद्गुरुदेव की जय।
O adorable Lord of mercy and love, salutations and prostrations unto Thee. Thou art omnipresent, omnipotent and omniscient. Thou art Satchidananda. Thou art the indweller of all beings. Grant us an understanding heart, equal vision, balanced mind, faith, devotion and wisdom. Grant us inner spiritual strength to resist temptations and to control the mind. Free us from egoism, lust, greed, anger and hatred. Fill our hearts with divine virtues. Let us behold Thee in all these names and forms. Let us serve Thee in all these names and forms. Let us ever remember Thee. Let us be ever loyal to Thee. Let us ever sing Thy glories. Let Thy name be ever on our lips. Let us abide in Thee forever and ever. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. O all-merciful Gurudev, every thought of my mind, every emotion of my heart, every movement of my being, every feeling and every sensation, each cell of my body, each drop of my blood, all is yours, Gurudev, yours absolutely, yours without any reserve. Gurudev, you can decide my life or my death, my happiness or my sorrow, my pleasure or my pain. Gurudev, whatever you do with me, whatever comes to me from you, will lead me to your lotus feet. Gurudev, you have provided us with the best facilities in the world for our spiritual growth. May we take full advantage of this precious gift of yours, Gurudev. May we look upon the ashram and all its contents as your body and treat them with love and reverence. This is our heartfelt prayer to you, Gurudev. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
ज्योत से ज्योत जगाते चलो, ज्योत से ज्योत जगाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो, ज्योत से ज्योत जगाते चलो, ज्योत से ज्योत जगाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो, राह में आए जो दीन दुखी, राह में आए जो दीन दुखी, सबको गले से लगा के चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो, ज्योत से ज्योत जगाते चलो, ज्योत से ज्योत जगाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो। जिसका न कोई संगी साथी, ईश्वर है रखवाला, जिसका न कोई संगी साथी, ईश्वर है रखवाला, जो निर्धन है जो निर्बल है, वो है प्रभु का प्यारा, जो निर्धन है जो निर्बल है, वो है प्रभु का प्यारा, प्यार का मोती प्यार का मोती लुटाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो, ज्योत से ज्योत जगाते चलो, ज्योत से ज्योत जगाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो। आशा टूटी, ममता रूठी, की गंगा बहाते चलो, प्रेम की गंगा बहाते चलो.
Today I'll speak a few words, and a few thoughts came into my mind. We have quite often a problem in the household and life, perhaps not only in the household and life, but even in the life of renunciates. And I was thinking, what is the purpose of the household and life? Why do people get married? Is it to get pleasure out of each other? Is it to have a home? Is it to have children? Is it to have wealth? And the answer came from inside, none of these. People get married because they want companionship. All the other things are secondary. If we look at ourselves, we all want companionship. And that desire for companionship is innate in our hearts. It is really a desire for God, the companionship of God. Now, because God is not visible to us, we want an external companionship. So that's what I thought, that the whole purpose of married life is that we want a companion, we want a friend, we want security. We want to be free from fear. But if this is not understood by both partners, then a tug of war takes place. Often one of the partners wants to exclusively possess and dominate the other. And that too is a natural, if you look at it, it's not something unnatural. See, it is only a distorted form of an inner desire. Because that is how Vedanta started, you see. The reason why we want to dominate over others and want to get control of others is because our soul is all powerful, it's one without a second. See? So there's nothing unnatural in that. See? The wife wants to completely possess, completely make the husband bend to her will, and vice versa. But if we understand the meaning of marriage, see, and if husband and wife discuss the matter and have a reasonable understanding of it, both can make progress towards God. So really we are looking for companionship of God. We really want God. But because we cannot get God immediately, we have to seek the company of someone else. And that is why the disciple also goes to a guru. So everyone is looking for a companionship of God. So Gurudev says in his books, we don't get that peace from external things because we have not found God. So our scripture tells us that the partners should try to feel each other within, because death is going to take one of them away sooner or later and plunge us in grief. But if we try to feel, use the person next to us to go towards God, then spiritual life becomes a great venture. Otherwise, it ends in disaster, and more karma is being formed. I've seen several cases where the husband ruins the wife or the wife ruins the husband completely. And the karma that they build will probably take many, many births to overcome. And whatever we give, we will get. If we try to dominate today, then someone else will dominate in the next birth. You'll find the life stories of married couples given in a book called Many Mansions. Every household should read that book. It's very important. It was written by a man called Edgar Casey. He's an American psychic person, and he was a Roman Catholic. And he never believed in the law of karma and reincarnation. He was struck with terror when he heard about it later on. See, but it all came to him from inside. He didn't know that these were Hindu doctrines. So he used to first heal people. He would be able to see a person, if he was far away, he would be able to actually see the person and prescribe the remedy over the phone, and very clear remedies, and the person would get healed. And then people started asking him for life readings. And in that case, he began to go into a trance, and then he would read the past life. And many, they corroborated. He said, you must go to the New York archives, and there you'll see, in the past birth you were so and so. You'll see your name there. And they were able to trace it. So then he stumbled upon the law of karma and the law of reincarnation. And he was able to trace people's past births. And all these records have been, case histories have been recorded. And if you go to America, they say that you can read them. So he was telling the life histories of some of the couples who came to him and why they were suffering and so on and so forth. So that is why it's very, very important that in married life we don't have any hatred and ill will. If the husband is unreasonable, the wife should try to bear with it. But if she fights back and retorts, then she's making more karma and it's got to come back to the next birth. And vice versa. So in all our life, we should try to settle our debts and not make fresh karma. So the household life is a marvelous opportunity for us, for people to progress towards God. The progress also safe, but both must have a clear understanding. Even if they don't have an understanding that comes from the heart, even if they have an intellectual understanding and come to see how the law of karma works, if I do such and such an action, then I'll have to pay for it. Because God doesn't punish anyone. God is merely a witness. Only the law of karma acts. So whatever we see, it's only the operation of this law. So all of us must have a good grasp of this law of karma. And if we have a good grasp of it, we can overcome many of our weaknesses. We can have a positive attitude towards life. Well, if I have to go through this, it is a part of my karma, but I'll go through it cheerfully. So you can very wisely use misfortunes and calamities to go towards God. That is wisdom. But the vast majority miss the opportunity. Only the rare few make use of all opportunities. See, what appears to be a calamity and a misfortune is a great good fortune in one who has faith in God, one who sees the divine will operating. It's very important today that we continually turn towards God by repeating the divine name, by talking to God in all that we do, by talking to Gurudev and invoking his help and his guidance. Wonderful things can happen. And a new kind of companionship develops. You'll find that everything in life is disappointing. Everyone disappoints us, but God never disappoints. He's ever ready to come to our aid, ever ready to give us strength. So this continual talking to God, a conversation with God, must go on in our work. We should ask God's help in all that we do, in important things and in unimportant things. And God gives us the strength. If we call sincerely, He will give us the strength. But we don't call. We have to call persistently. We have to call ardently. Even if you don't deserve it, you can call. So try to make this companionship with God an important factor in your life. Even if you don't do regular meditation in the morning or in the evening, but if you continually call upon Gurudev to help you, to guide you, you'll find wonderful things happening. You'll find progress. You'll find the peace of mind coming to you. We are living in very uncertain times. But again, I said, if you look at it from the overall cosmic point of view, from God's point of view, then it's the most marvelous opportunity to make progress in the spiritual path. Because when disappointments come, you don't have to do big tapas today like the ancient rishis have done. You can do the tapas of self-surrender, accepting whatever God has ordained for you as being for our good. So spiritual progress can go very, very rapidly where the surrender to God is complete. Even if you fail, even if you give way to disturbance in the mind, you should try and recover quickly. You shouldn't let it play upon you for a very long time. Even the best sadhakas, they're shaken, but they overcome it very quickly. So gradually the period of disturbance is lessened. The thing is that people don't ask for God's help in all the little things that they do. So they don't develop that companionship with God. They don't feel secure. So if that companionship is not there, then there's fear, there's doubt, suspicion, and all sorts of things come into mind. So please try to call upon God all the time when you're doing your work, in the little things, in the big things. Those who call for God in the small things will be ready to call for God in the big things. Those who fail to call for God in the small things will perhaps fail also when a big test comes. See, there's unemployment, insecurity, floods, earthquakes, economic situation. But if you're a devotee of God, then everything is wonderful.
Om. We will now introduce our guest artist for today, Avijay Harichand, addressed as just Avijay. His professional music career began in the years 2014-2015 by singing at private events. Avijay then began taking mentorship under the late musician and instrumentalist Pravesh Khilawan. He then went on to get formal training in Hindustani classical music from his guru, Srimati Munali Shom of Drisha Music Academy and University Prashin Kala Kendra in Chandigarh, India, which is now affiliated with the Kailash Kher Academy of Music. He performed alongside other internationally acclaimed artists such as Neha Khalekar, Nirav Bevlacha, Kumar Sanu, and Alka Yagnik. He will be next on our program with his rendition of bhajans as his offering for today. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरे वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिधर हारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी यशोदानंदन भज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन भ्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीर बनचारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी हरे रामा राम रामा हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 रामा राम रामा हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे तुम विनती सुनो सबकी कल्याण करो जग का तुम विनती सुनो सबकी कल्याण करो जग का सधराह दिखा करके उद्धार करो दुर्गा उद्धार करो दुर्गा तुम विनती सुनो सबकी दर्शन हो माँ तेरे सबकी अभिलाषा है मन में रहो तुम सबके तुमसे यही आशा है दर्शन हो माँ तेरे सबकी अभिलाषा है मन में रहो तुम सबके तुमसे यही आशा है क्या मेरा क्या उसका ये अपना पराया क्या सद ज्योति जला करके करो जग सारा, रोशन करो जग सारा। तुम विनती सुनो सबकी,
राम कथा मंदाकिनी चित्रकूट चित चारु रामा चित्रकूट चित चारु तुलसी सुभग स्नेह बना सिय रघुबीर बिहारु रामा सिय रघुबीर बिहारु सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय.
Nevertheless, when the preceptor repeated the story Ramayana time after time, I, Sri Tulsidas, followed it to some extent according to my ability and capacity. I shall versify the same in the popular tongue, so that my mind may derive satisfaction from it. Equipped with what little intellectual and critical faculty I possess, I shall write with a heart inspired by Sri Hari. The story I am going to tell is such a one which will dispel my own doubts, errors, and delusion, and serve as a boat for crossing the stream of mundane existence. The story of Rama is a solace to the learned and a source of delight to all men, and wipes out the impurities of the Kali age. Sri Rama's story is a peahen for the serpent in the form of the Kali age. Again, it is a wooden stick for kindling the sacred fire of wisdom. The tale of Rama is like the cow of plenty in this age of Kali. It is a beautiful, life-giving herb for the virtuous. It is a veritable river of nectar on the surface of this globe. It shatters the fear of birth and death and is a virtual snake for the frog of delusion. It is beneficent to pious souls, even as goddess Parvati, the daughter of Himavan, is friendly to gods. Again, it puts an end to hell, even as Parvati exterminated the army of demons. It flows from the assemblage of saints, even as Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, sprang from the ocean. And like the immovable earth, it bears the burden of the entire creation. Like the sacred river Yamuna in this world, it scares away the messengers of Yama, the god of death. It is holy Kashi, as it were, for the liberation of souls. It is dear to Rama as the sacred basil plant, Tulsi, and is truly beneficent to Tulsi Das as his own mother, Hulasi. It is the beloved of Lord Shiva, as the river Narmada, which has as its source in Mount Mikala a peak of the Amarakantaka hills. It is a mine of all attainments as well as of happiness and prosperity. It is to noble qualities what Mother Aditi is to the gods. It is the culmination, as it were, of devotion and love for Sri Rama. The story of Sri Rama is the river Mandakini, which washes the foot of Chitrakoot. A guileless heart is Mount Chitrakoot, one of the happy resorts of Sri Rama during his wanderings in the forest. While pure love, says Tulsidas, is the woodland in which Sita and Rama carry on their divine pastimes.
Hare
Om Narayana. Hara Om Sada Siva. Hari Om Narayana. Hara Om Sada Siva. Pahimam Trahimam Narayana. Pahimam Rakshamam Sada Siva. Pahimam Trahimam Narayana. Pahimam Rakshamam Sada Siva. Come, oh Lord Narayana. Give me darshan Sada Siva. Come, oh Lord Narayana. Give me darshan Sada Siva. Save me, protect me, Narayana. Guide me, liberate me, Sada Siva. Save me, protect me, Narayana. Guide me, liberate me, Sada Siva. Come, oh Lord Sivananda. Give me darshan Guru Deva. Come, oh Lord Sivananda. Give me darshan Guru Deva. Save me, protect me, Sivananda. Guide me, liberate me, Guru Deva. Save me, protect me, Sivananda. Guide me, liberate me, Guru Deva. I am thine, all is thine, Sivananda. I am thine, thou art mine, Guru Deva. I am thine, all is thine, Sivananda. I am thine, thou art mine, Guru Deva. I am thine, all is thine, Sivananda. I am thine, thou art mine, Guru Deva. I am thine, all is thine, Sivananda. I am thine, thou art mine, Guru Deva. Apat Pandava Narayana. Anatra Rakshaka Sada Siva. Apat Pandava Narayana. Anatra Rakshaka Sada Siva.
जय जय माँ लक्ष्मी माँ, जय जय माँ सरस्वती माँ, जय जय माँ लक्ष्मी माँ, जय जय माँ सरस्वती माँ, जय 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 माँ। जय जय माँ गंगा माँ, जय जय माँ यमुना माँ, जय जय माँ गंगा माँ, जय जय माँ यमुना माँ, जय जय माँ गंगा माँ, जय जय माँ यमुना माँ, जय जय माँ गंगा माँ, जय जय माँ यमुना माँ, जय 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 माँ। जय गुरुदेव श्री गुरुदेव, 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 जय माँ, 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 जय माँ। जय जय माँ, 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 जय जय माँ। Om Tat Sat, Om Tat Sat, Om Tat Sat, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om. Om Tat Sat, Om Tat Sat, Om Tat Sat, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om. Serve, love, live, purify, meditate, realize. Be good, do good, be kind, be compassionate. Serve, love, live, purify, meditate, realize. Be good, do good, be kind, be compassionate. Inquire whom I know the self and be free. Inquire whom I know the self and be free. Adapt, adjust, accommodate. Bearing, sub-bearing, revive, sadhana. Adapt, adjust, accommodate. Bearing, sub-bearing, revive, sadhana. Om Tat Sat, Om Tat Sat, Om Tat Sat, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om. Om Tat Sat, Om Tat Sat, Om Tat Sat, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om. Serve, love, live, purify, meditate, realize. Be good, do good, be kind, be compassionate. Serve, love, live, purify, meditate, realize. Be good, do good, be kind, be compassionate. Inquire whom I know the self and be free. Inquire whom I know the self and be free. Adapt, adjust, accommodate. Bearing, sub-bearing, revive, sadhana. Adapt, adjust, accommodate. Bearing, sub-bearing, revive, sadhana. Om Tat Sat, Om Tat Sat, Om Tat Sat, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om. Om Tat Sat, Om Tat Sat, Om Tat Sat, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om.
Hari Om. We would like to thank all devotees for tuning in to our Youth Day celebration for 2022. We would like to invite all devotees to join in our online home satsangs and yoga camps. Our online yoga camp will be on Sunday, 19 June 2022, commencing with a home sadhana program from 6 a.m. until 9:45 a.m. Lesson topics are Guru Tattva, Facing the Challenges of Life, and an item on International Yoga Day. Our yoga camp lessons are from 9:45 to 10:45 a.m. Yoga camp satsang will be from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. A special thank you to our guest artist and all those youth who contributed to today's program. We would like to invite all our youth to join in our online home satsangs and yoga camps and to attend satsangs and prayer services at the ashrams or temples close to you. Our spiritual life must be given importance from a very young age. Devotees are encouraged to continue following all the COVID-19 protocols and guidelines in place as the risk of infection is still prevalent. We continue our prayers for all those afflicted and affected by the pandemic, for the health and well-being of all and for world peace. Pujya Swamiji has given elaborate descriptions in our books of the value of the Mahamrityun Jaya Mantra, Agnihotra, and Sri Hanuman Chalisa. Devotees are urged to continue with these practices daily for their own safety and protection. As per Pujya Swamiji's advice, the Mahamrityunjaya mantra should be repeated all the time while driving. If we cannot repeat the mantra all the time, then repeat it as much as possible. It will help to prevent accidents, robberies, hijackings, and other calamities. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Om Namo Bhagavate Shivanandaya. 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 Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Urvarukamiva Vandanam Mrityorumukshyamamritat. 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 Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Urvarukamiva Vandanam Mrityorumukshyamamritat.
Jaya Jaya Arati Vighna Vinayaka Gopala, Venu Gopala, Venu Lola, Bhagavi Gora, Navagita Chola, Jaya Jaya Arati, Venkataramana, Venkataramana, Sankataharana, Sita-Rama, Radhe Shama, Jaya Jaya Arati, Gauri Manohara, Gauri Manohara, Bhavani Shankara, Sambhu Sada Shiva, Uma Maheshwara, Jaya Jaya Arati, Rajarajeshwari, Rajarajeshwari, Tripura Sundari, Mahasaraswati, Mahalakshmi, Mahakali, Mahashakti, Jaya Jaya Arati, Anjaneya, Anjaneya, Hanumanta, Jaya Jaya Arati, Dattatreya, Dattatreya, Trimurti Avatara, Jaya Jaya Arati, Sadguru Nada, Sadguru Nada, Bhagavan Sivananda, Sadguru Nada, Bhagavan Vishwananda, Jaya Jaya Arati, Vigna Vinayaka. Om Sarvesham Swasti Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shanti Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavi Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmeva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunattu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.